Hello, Hollywood Times viewers. Judy Shields here. Today we welcome Nashville-based singer-songwriter Robby Johnson. Hey, Robby, how you doing?
Hey, Judy, I'm doing great. And you?
Oh, I'm fabulous. We got rid of that heat wave that we were having over here in Hollywood, so we're pretty happy.
Awesome.
So, are you in Nashville?
Yep. Well, suburbs of Nashville. Yeah, Franklin, Tennessee. It's
Oh, it's
really nice. Yeah.
beautiful there. I visited in June. Oh my goodness, what a town.
Yeah, it's really a lot of history. It's very beautiful, and there's always something cool happening downtown, Old Franklin. Halloween is pretty, if you've ever been to Franklin on
Oh, wow.
Halloween night, it's insane. They close out the streets and people, the owners of the homes, they disguise and it's crazy. There's thousands of people
Oh my
and
God.
it's trick or treating. It's really an awesome experience. And I have to say, just one year, when Halloween's around, you have those movies, Halloween movies
Yes.
that are one after the other. And one time we were at the gym, we were training. I was with my daughter, and it was Halloween that was on, and Jason Myers, Michael Myers, and then we go trick or treat downtown Franklin, and it was like in the movies. There was the cop car that was blocking the road, all the kids trick or treating, and with the lights on and everything, and then a huge guy dressed up as Michael Myers just goes right next to the police car. And my daughter and I were like, oh my God, this looks like the real thing. We got scared for a second. It was pretty intense.
It's one of my all-time favorite movies. Hard to say that, but he's
Yeah.
like I can't explain it. We just love him. But
Yeah.
the one show where they actually showed his face and he went into the restroom. I work in a high-rise building, and when I go to the restroom and no one's in there, I think of that. I'm like, see how that scared me?
Yeah.
Oh boy. Well,
He always
Halloween.
finds a way, right?
It's like Halloween's it seems like every year when Halloween, someone has to dress up in my family around the corner and scare you, and he's
Yeah.
one to scare you, that's for sure.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
he doesn't have to do anything but just stand there.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Well, enough of that, I guess, for now. But I understand you released a newest single, More Than You Think, on September
Yes.
6th, which just was just in time for National Grandparents Day that came out on September 8th. Yay, I'm a grandma of three. And also premiered on RFD TV. What was that all like for you? And tell us the inspiration of the song, the title. Are you the
Yeah.
songwriter? What's going on?
So how it works is I just sit down, with my guitar, I start fooling around and I come up with a chord progression and I really just let it out. I don't think about it. I'm not chasing anything. I just let, the emotions and everything come out. And sometimes it's halfway through the song that I realize, oh, it wants to be this. And it's crazy because sometimes you feel like I feel like I didn't really write the song. I just found it. It was already there somewhere. I really get this feeling a lot oftentimes when I don't, try too hard and just let it out. And that's what happened for this song. I was halfway through. It was like, oh, this is about me and my grandparents and all they did and my grandpa Leo and all that. And the fact that my father abandoned us when I was 5. And
Sorry.
it was tough upbringing, but my grandparents, they were awesome. They were so awesome. And I spent so much time with them. I was always there every summer, Hartford, Connecticut, Putnam Street, fooling around the, and my grandfather Leo was a janitor for the school and the church attached to it. And so we would spend our days in the gymnasium of the school having fun, playing sports. There was a piano there, play piano, and it was a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun, and the song, that's what the song is about. It's like, hey, sometimes your grandparents, they're not actively teaching you anything, but you pick up on stuff they do,
Yeah.
and you look up to them. And so that's what the song is about, more than you think. You did a lot more than you think. So.
So with you saying that, what's the one thing that you remember most about your grandmother and what you remember most about your grandfather? What was important that you saw in the two of them separately?
Yeah, so my grandmother, I think I picked it up from her. She would put out a show every time. She was center. of attention. She was funny. She would talk loud, and she was really the center of everything.
Yeah.
But in a good way. I mean, where you would be entertained just listening to the stories, and she would spice up the stories. It was so funny. And my grandfather, he was, he worked with his hands. He did so many things. He would fix everything, and that's something that I picked up from him. Is like, hey, we can fix, you can fix everything. And he would work wood, and I do the same. So, and he didn't like, I would say, he didn't like when people started to argue. And we wouldn't, when I was a kid at my grandparents' house, we would rarely ever see anybody argue or get in fights. He would just stand there and start doing goofy stuff so that it stops. And everybody would just stop and look at him doing crazy stuff and doing this, crazy dance. I was like, oh, okay, we get it. And so yeah,
Aw.
that's what I remember the most.
Yeah, those are great stories. Here at the Hollywood Times, we will be premiering what you guys refer to as like a music video, you singing your new song near a lake with the view of a dog
Yep.
laying by the lake. So
Yeah.
kind of tell us about that lake, the dog, and the video.
Right. It's a lake not too far from here,
Okay.
and the dog, it's a rescue dog.
Aw.
It's her name is Blue, and
Oh,
she is so awesome, a smart dog. We did a DNA test, so she's a 40 to 60% border collie, and then she has the American pit bull, a little bit of bulldog.
oh wow.
And she's really smart. She is really, really smart. She's a great dog. And we got her, she was a little puppy, and
Aw.
we weren't supposed to have a dog. But my son, he just wanted a dog. It was like, I want a
Yeah.
dog, I want, like a friend or something, at home, and the presence of a dog. And we started, my wife started looking at puppies, on apps and all that. And then one day we were supposed to go take a look at, there's a tulip garden over here, but you need tickets. We didn't know. So we're like, oh, what do we do? So we went to the animal shelter, and there was this
Aw.
cute little puppy, and my son just fell in love, and we brought it back home. And
Oh,
it's been 3 years, and she is awesome. Awesome. It's great to have people out there that are like, oh, should we have a puppy, or a dog or a cat, something for the
yeah.
kids? Yes, totally, totally. It's great.
Yeah,
It changes the dynamic in the family. It's so weird.
it does. Let me see. Can you see him?
Yeah, yeah, I can see him.
Well, that's Chance, and he's a
Wow.
bull. He's a boxer. We've had
Okay.
three boxers, and we weren't. We lost our two boxers 2 years ago within 4 months of each other, and it was just a
Uh,
horrible thing when you have to go through from cancer and illnesses. And he just happened to pop up, and I don't even know why he popped up. It popped up like on one of those sites and
yeah.
adopt a pet. I'm like, and I saw him, and I was like, and we used to have an American bulldog. They're big dogs, the big one.
Yeah.
And he looks like him, but miniature. And I thought of him, and I just like, I didn't even, my son, my daughter-in-law, my three grandsons live with me. And I said, I don't care. I'm getting this dog. It's my house, and they're just gonna have to. So I pay, you pay a little fee to help them and
Yeah.
stuff to get them. And I did that, but I told the rescue people, I said, I can't get him until this was like in May. I said, I can't get him until after June. I'm going to Nashville for a week and a half, and I just can't do that to my kids. So I
Mhm.
went and got him on the 15th of June when I got back from Nashville. I brought him in the house, and my daughter-in-law was there, and she turned around the corner. She went crazy. She says, oh, who is this? And then my 5-year-old grandson came down. He just loves everybody. I mean, he's just,
Wow.
and I've had him since June, and he's amazing. His name is Chance. And thank you for doing that too. That's like, of course you like puppies, but he's still a year and a half, and he's
Yeah.
just goofy. He's a goofy boxer.
Yeah, our dog she's really, like I was saying, she's really smart. She can open doors, and we have a little
Oh my gosh.
ring electronic bell that
Yeah.
she rings to go out, and there's one outside, so she rings to come back in.
Oh,
So
yes.
it's fun. She's well trained.
Sorry, folks, but when you talk about dogs, you can get off track.
Yeah, we lose track.
But there was a dog in the video, so this all went somewhere,
Yes.
right?
Yeah, so she was there, and it's funny because I've done a few videos with her, and she kind of knows the she's
She's
just
just laying
okay. I'm
there
just
like,
gonna lay here and just wait for this to be done. And as soon as the song stops, because you always play a song in the background so that
yeah,
you can sync everything together. And when the song stops, she gets up. Oh, where's my treat? She knows. Uh,
yeah. So your dog and my dog are blessed. So, well, let's talk about your music influence. When did you start knowing you had a voice? When did you write your first song? What instruments do you play? All that great stuff. Tell
All
us
right,
about you.
so I play a little piano. I play guitar.
Oh,
Guitar I started a few years ago. I played a little bit when I was younger, but then got away from it. My brother is an amazing guitar player, and he had a guitar, and I would just play with his guitar. And then I had an accident with a table saw and took the tips of my fingers over here.
oh, wow.
So it was so painful I couldn't even touch the tip of my fingers. So it took some time for me to get used to the pain of it. So when I started playing again, it was so painful, but I don't know, I got over it. My brain is playing tricks on me. He's like, hey, it doesn't hurt anymore. It doesn't hurt. It cannot hurt because you want to play guitar. So I play guitar, and also you were asking, influences and all that. So as a young kid, I would listen to country music, and I listen to, pretty much every genre of music. I appreciate pretty much every genre of music, except for speed metal. I don't know. I was never a fan of speed metal, but I like good music that has something to say. So when I was a kid, I was listening to country music, and but I was never. It happened later. One point, I was with my cousin,
Yeah.
little older, and he was like, hey, have you ever heard this guy? I'm like, no. So he started the tape, and I don't know, I think it was a CD or something, but a
Yeah.
player, and I put this in my ears, and oh my God, the singer is talking to me, directly to me. He has a message for me, and he cares about me, and I'm important. And that was Garth Brooks.
Oh,
It was
wow.
so incredible. And it just drew me in. I was like, oh my God. And that's when it all started for me with country music. But and also I started writing songs just just in my head and singing them like that in the car,
Yeah.
in the shower, just, never. It's not like when I was 5, I was in front of a mirror with a
Okay.
brush, and singing, and I was, knowing I was going to be an artist. It really, that wasn't the case. I never thought I'd be an artist. So one point, my wife, back then was my girlfriend. She gave me a Christmas gift, which was a session in a studio to cut one of my songs, like a demo or something. And it was, I would say back then was the worst Christmas gift ever. There's a video where they're all excited, the family, like, hey, you take a look at the gift. And they knew it because she had passed the hat for that because it's pretty
Okay.
expensive. And I opened the letter, and I start reading, and I'm like, oh no, not this, not this. And I
Really?
pretended I was happy. Hey, wow, that's a great gift. But I wasn't really excited. But then I go to the studio with my father-in-law, and I was like, okay, let's just go have a good time and be done with it.
Okay.
Let's just be done with it. So I was like, let's do one of my country rock songs. I'll be there rocking and rolling. So we get in the studio, and I start singing the song so that the guy could chart it and do all that and playing. And the guy was like, oh my God, where are you coming? What's your name? Where are you coming from? You should totally go to Nashville. I mean, this sounds like what's on the radio right now. I mean, you should really go to Nashville. And, I didn't consider myself being an artist or a singer. And I was like, no, 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 thank you. But then that day in the studio, I felt peace. I felt at peace with myself, and the energy of the studio. It's so amazing because you start from nothing and you end up with with a song on a C back then on a CD, and going back home playing that in your car, it's whoa, that's pretty intense. So I started putting that online, and then a lot of people reached out to me from LA, Nashville, pretty much
Wow.
everywhere. And one guy, Tom Roach, who worked with the Osmonds, he reached out to me and was like, "Hey, you should." He was like, "You should go to Nashville, and I'll hook you up with some people." And he put me in touch with Jimmy Nichols, who worked with Reba McEntire, Faith Hill. Amazing session player, has played on numerous number one hits, knows his jobs, and also a producer, great producer, songwriter. So I started going back and forth to Nashville, and at one point I got in a meeting with Jim Catino, who was the big A&R at Sony back then,
Mhm.
on Music Row, and he was like, "Okay, Robbie, if you want the industry to help you, you have to commit 100%. You cannot come here a weekend here and there.
Really?
There's thousands of artists that are coming every year to Nashville to make it. So we cannot help everybody,
Yeah.
but we're going to help people that it's their plan A. That's what they want to do. So they move to Nashville because they absolutely believe in it. And that's their only option, is that it works. So I moved to Nashville and started my career in Nashville. So that's how it all started.
I mean, that's like a Cinderella story. I mean, thanks to
Oh,
you
so
getting that
many.
one.
Oh, and then so many stars aligned for me. It's the story is it's like a roller coaster and it's so crazy. And even Jimmy Nichols, and working with his buddy Frank Myers, who wrote I Swear, Tomorrow, Chris Young, I mean, huge songwriter. And they were telling me, "Robbie, it's a process. You're not going to be on the radio soon. You're not going to be on TV, and nothing like that's going to happen. Everything is planned in advance." And but then I released a single, a music video, climbing the charts on Music Row Country Breakout charts, top 18, invited on the Late Show with David Letterman, performed on the Late Show. So and within, I would say, a year and a
Oh.
half. So it was pretty intense. Yeah.
So are you looking forward to maybe doing a duet with somebody you really want to? Who might that be? Male or female?
Well, I think Garth Brooks, of course,
Okay.
would be the number one pick and I had the great privilege to meet him in person during
Oh,
the
wow.
50th CMA Awards.
Yes.
I was there on the floor,
Over in Austin?
and
Was it or
no,
was
no,
it?
no, no,
Oh, so you made
the
here.
CMA,
Got
not the ACMs, the
it.
CMA Awards, and it was
Oh,
insane. During commercial break, I just got up, I walked up to him, I bowed to Trisha, of course, and then he just got up, took off his hat, and he held my hand for a minute and a half. We had a great,
wow.
conversation. And what's so weird is that it wasn't you know, me asking questions to Garth Brooks, and it
Yeah.
was Garth Brooks asking about my family, how they were doing. Do you have kids? So you moved to Nashville. Are they okay with the move? And how's it going? He was really it was beautiful. It was beautiful. And at the end, he just told me, he tapped me in the back and he said, "Hang in there, kid. It's gonna happen if you just
Yeah.
hang in there." And that's the truth. I was saying that thousands of artists come to Nashville to make it and just go back home after. It's
Yeah.
because it's easy. I mean, it's hard to make it because it's so easy to screw it up. It's so easy to
Yeah.
take a negative, something that happens, and like, oh, it means it's not meant to be for me because this happened to me. But no,
Mhm.
that's not the case. I mean, negative stuff happened to all the artists
Mhm.
that have made it. How
Yeah.
many artists have been rejected by labels? Carrie Underwood, Garth Brooks was rejected by
Yes,
labels. They couldn't
exactly.
understand what Garth Brooks was about.
Yeah.
So many. Thinking about, like Chris Stapleton was a demo singer.
Yeah.
So all the labels in town, all the A&R people were hearing that voice, and nobody went like, "We need to sign this guy,"
Yeah.
So it's weird. So you just got to hang in there and just believe it. Yeah, I
Yeah,
mean, if that's what you want to do, you just keep doing it. If all you
exactly.
want is to be signed by a label, I mean, it's not the point.
Yeah, exactly. And I've been doing a whole songwriters series because it took a show that they did a while back on, I think it was NBC, about songwriters, and it made me realize all this time, because I've been a country music fan since I was a little girl. Love all kinds of music, but country. I watched this show and it just put a different perspective. I'm thinking, I love all these songs, and like George Strait didn't even write any of those songs. It was somebody else, Dean Dillon, all these
Yeah.
songwriters. I'm like, and that's what made me think I'm going to start interviewing songwriters, because to me, without them, I'm not going to have that song. Yes, it takes music,
Yeah.
it takes this, and that's all I've been doing. So when people like your PR folks reach out, I mean, I don't care if you sold one song, I'm still going to talk to you, and you've done really well. Like, these numbers that you have are pretty impressive, and
Thank
and it
you.
helps me to meet new people and hear new music, because you have a very distinctive voice, so
Oh, thank you.
I hear you and I'm going to be, that's Robby, because sometimes you
Yeah.
say, oh, he sort of sounds like this and sounds like that, but you have your own. So I'm so glad your wife gave you that
Thank you.
present back when when she was not
And
your wife.
I'm all over the place. I have
Yeah.
some traditional country, I have some more pop
Yeah.
country, country rock. You can't
Yeah.
put me in a box. And I always think about the live show,
Mhm.
where I construct a playlist. I don't want it to be the same song kind of over and over again, because this gets old very quickly.
Yeah.
And I want to bring people on a roller coaster ride and just,
Oh.
start with, the more current stuff, and then you go into the traditional country, you bring back some old classic, some covers where people are just clapping and stomping their boots.
Yeah.
And then you just go and you just go with the country rock for the end, where it's
Yeah.
hard and it's
Exactly.
fun. So the energy always goes up during the show. So that's why you can't put me in a box, and
Good.
I can't be behind my guitar, behind a mic stand for an hour and a half. That's not going to happen. That's not me. I got to be
Yeah.
jumping around and interacting with the crowd. I also do a light check for my shows.
Yeah.
You know,
Oh, wow.
yeah, because I want to see people's faces. I want to see their eyes.
Nice.
One time I started that because one time I did a theater run. I had 4 nights. And the first night, the show started, and I had all this light coming at me, and you could see just a few people in the first row. And
Yeah.
the rest of the crowd, it was a packed place, a
You can't.
theater. I couldn't see anybody.
Oh, I bet.
And to pretend that I'm pointing people I don't see, that's not me. I don't know. It doesn't work. So I stopped the show. I was like, hey, can you just, bring up the lights? I want to see everybody. And brought up the lights, and like, oh, you're so beautiful. And these people just loved it. So starting
Oh,
there, I'm like, every time I do a light check, I want to make sure I see everybody as much as possible. And just because when you're creating this moment with the crowd, they're
wow.
the rock stars. They're the ones that make careers. It's not me. It's because they stream it, they sing along. They're at the show. They pay to come see you at a show. If there's nobody, if it's just me with the band, nothing happens. That's not a moment.
Yeah.
It's fun. Yes, we're jamming, but it's not a moment. And it's great when we create those moments and that you are in the moment as well, where you make eye contact with the band and they know it. And you look at the crowd and they know it, that this is special right now. And we're going to remember it for a long time. So that's the best. That's the best feeling.
So it's called light check, or what is it considered?
I call it a light check. You do a
Okay.
sound check. I also do a light check.
Well, no, because we us fans hold up those signs, I love you, and all this silly stuff we say.
Oh yeah. And you
I'm
can
doing
see the
light
signs
check now.
too.
I want light check because I want the lights up or turn on the lights to see us.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah. Yeah.
great.
Yeah. You
That's
could do that.
brilliant.
Yeah.
So you're on tour, I'm assuming. Where is that all happening right now?
Well, I'm working on that. I want to get out. I want to create these moments with everybody. I'm
Yeah.
working mostly on some new music, working on a new song right now, and releasing a new one every 6 to 8 weeks. So I'm
Wow.
keeping Scott busy, my
Yep.
publicist, very
Yeah.
busy.
Yes.
And yeah, and it's just, and I'm so happy you were talking about songwriting and artists that you're like, oh, they didn't write the song. And to me, it's important that I write my own songs. Now, I do have a co-writer on every song,
Okay.
because I'll write the song and then I get with my buddy Danny Rader. He just finished touring with Kenny Chesney. He's an
Wow.
amazing guy, amazing producer, songwriter. I, I mean, he is so talented. So we get together and I play him the song, and sometimes I just have the melody and he just comes up with the chord progression, or we overlook the arrangements. He will challenge me on some lyrics and we will help each other get to a finished product. And so he's a co-writer on the song, but it
Cool.
usually it starts from me, from what I want to say. Well, not what I want to say, what came out of me for
Yeah.
some reason. So yeah.
Amazing. And I also like to talk with and help promote the independent artists. And I see why some of them become
Thank you.
independent. I totally believe 100%. And I'm going to do my best to go to the Josie Awards in October from here. I've been invited by the gals who run it, and I'm hoping I can come out there because I totally believe in the independent, going out on your own and doing what you believe, putting out what you believe in. So,
Yeah, yeah, and it's important. I mean, it's not so true today, but in the past we've seen so many artists, having where labels, they sign them and it's a development thing and they just push them some songs, outside songs, and then they start with a sound and then they drastically change over time
mm,
and become indie artists, independent. And it's like, oh, that's the true artists they were,
yeah,
so, and we don't see that as much today because people, they just do it themselves. They get it out there. It's so
yeah,
easy today. And then it's when they're already, huge, when the labels just go and pick them up. They don't develop
yeah,
any new artists. So it's great. I mean, it's a great time to be in for artists. Yes, there's a lot of competition though. There's a lot of music that's released
yeah.
every minute.
I
So
believe
to
it.
stand out, it's
Yeah.
tough. You got to promote it. You got to promote it. So thank you so much for giving us this window where people can access the music and the music videos. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Truly
Yeah, but
appreciate it.
yeah, you're welcome. Do you have a holiday song coming up, I heard?
A what?
A holiday Christmas song coming out?
Oh
Or
yeah, 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 yeah.
you
I
tell me about
that's
that.
that's one that's one of the songs where I don't know where it comes from. I don't know where I got that, but I woke up with the hook of the melody and the words. And so it's a song I dreamt about. And I was so excited. I was like, oh my God, this is so good. This is so like my youth. It sounds like a classic Christmas song. And I was excited. So I called Danny and like, hey, I want to do a Christmas song. He's like, okay. He was in Christmas mode because he works on the CMA Holiday Christmas special.
Oh,
He was all in the sleigh bells and he was in that mode. So I was like, okay. So I got together with Danny and we worked on a track and I was super excited. And then I leave the studio. I'm listening to the track. I'm singing along and the verses were great. But when I got to the chorus, I was like, this is not really good. It's not doing anything for me. So I was really upset. I was really, really upset. And I got home, told my wife, she was like, hey, how'd it go? I was like, oh, okay. She's like, what do you mean, okay? It can be okay. You were excited, you were stoked. And I got in bed really upset
oh no.
because I felt something strong about that song. And I woke up the next morning and as I was waking up, I was singing the new chorus to the
Oh my
song.
goodness.
So it took me 2 dreams. I don't know where it came from, but that's how this song came about. And it's "Oh Santa Please." And it's funny because I wanted it to be a song, when I started, I wanted to be, a couple underneath the mistletoe kissing, but it was like it wasn't working at all until I'm like, oh, it's a song about Santa. It's a song about Santa. That's what it wants to be. Just let it be what it wants to be. So, "Oh Santa Please." And it's getting great it's getting more and more traction, more and more airplay. It's played in outlets everywhere. So it's getting and it's so funny because a lot of times people are like, wow, what a great cover. Like, it's not a cover.
Right?
It's
Oh, see?
original. It's original, Christmas. And they're like, really? I was for sure thinking it was a cover. It's so good. And I remember it's playing on some radio stations in UK. And
Nice.
there was a radio station. They were like, oh, so every year at the Christmas party, we kind of do we have like a house band, and we do covers of Christmas songs, and everybody wants to do your song. Everybody's fighting over who's going to do Robby's song. So I'm really happy with it. And that's what we want. That's why we make music. It's so that it brings something to the others. And I gotta say, growing up, it was tough. I spent a lot of time at my grandparents' house, and I gotta say, I was practically raised by American television, the movies, the music, and the divorce was kind of a little rough on my mom. She was there, but it wasn't the same. And I would just look up to those role models on TV, in the music videos, and also the movies and all that. And I don't know where I'd be if it wasn't for that. So it's a way for me to give back.
We appreciate it. It's amazing. Your music is
Thank you.
amazing. Let us know your social media so we can find you.
Yeah, so it's very easy. So it's Robby Johnson Music, but it's Robby with a Y, Robby Johnson Music, and you will find me. Very easy.
Very good. And we'll make sure we put links up for all of your music, especially Spotify, and also the link for that Santa song, because hey, what's Christmas without Santa?
Yeah, exactly.
It's Jesus's birthday, but we do have our traditional Santa that gets the kids going. So
yeah.
Well, we thank you for taking the time to talk to us here. We're excited to premiere that cool music video.
Thank you.
With your rescue
Thank you
doggy.
so Thanks, Judy.
And we're going to put it on the Hollywood Times YouTube channel, official YouTube, and we're hollywoodtimes.net. So we appreciate it. We hope we get to see you again soon and premiere anything else you got going.
All righty. Thank you so much. Thanks.
You're so welcome.